I know for sure anyway, having spoken to people and seen it, it happens more than people think. A lot of people fall out of love with the game. Like, you've got to remember that you've been prepared, you've been groomed is not the right term, but you've been
Not
pampered.
groomed. You could say groomed. You could say groomed.
Yeah, you've been groomed for this since you were 8.
Yeah.
And you've been pushed into this machine, this brutal machine where you have friends that you're competing with.
I see 2 examples that just come to my head when you're speaking. I see in the NBA, I don't know if you watch the NBA.
Little bit, I dabble. I won't
Alright.
say like I'm a big fan, but I dabble.
All right, there's been a few players over the last few years and whatnot in the NBA. One to mention this year, who got a lot of stick, was a player called Paul George.
Paul George, yeah.
And Paul George, he's never been a guy where he can win a championship on his own, because he was in Indiana and he couldn't do it. Like, although that he had to get past LeBron, but he needed someone who to team up, and like the responsibility fans and the media has given him to be that guy. Like, I always ask myself, you know, the same as Paul Pogba, say for example, did Paul Pogba ever come out and be like, yeah, guys, I'm £100 million player.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna win Man United the title on my own type of thing. I'm gonna be the guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna bring it home. He might have never ever been that type of guy, like ever been that type of player. For all we know, Paul Pogba could just be a guy where he just wants to be a part of a winning team.
A title winning team, yeah. He doesn't want to carry the weight of it.
Yeah, same as like in Juventus, like he was part of a team where they had Pirlo. I don't know if I can't remember if Dybala was there or not. You know, like they had Chiellini, obviously. They had like so many guys where he was a part of the team. It wasn't Pogba win me the game type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Only some players can deal with that type of pressure and that type of expectation. Like Ronaldo, that's why he's everyone knows his mental state is a freak. Like, he's a freak.
Yeah.
You know? Like, even I think Messi is so talented, but you know, does Messi ask to be like, for Argentina, for example? Like, I feel like in that role in Argentina, it seems like sometimes a bit too much pressure for him. You know, some people don't ask for it.
I think the Argentina one for him is it's weird, because you can be a great player, but you still need the environment around you. Like, for example, would Messi have done everything he did in the game if he was at Sevilla? No, hell no, because you still need the right environment around you, and that's not just the caliber of players; it's the manager. And then we can say, you know what, you've got everything, you've got the foundation. Now we need you to push on further. Like, I still remember the goal that Messi scored against Nigeria in the World Cup, and they were stinking. But those moments of brilliance dumped us out and helped them like elevate and stuff. Yeah. So for him, like, it's weird, and maybe it's because the adoration he gets in Catalonia and Barcelona is so much different from Argentina. It's almost like he's almost seen as a Catalonian first, then Argentinian, which is interesting, because most people, it's like you're seen as this. You're like Paul Pogba seen as like French Paul Pogba. Then it's Paul Pogba, the superstar. With Messi, I think because of his situation, they see him as the Catalonian, and maybe that eats into his psyche when he's playing for Argentina. He's thinking, you know what, like, this is not Barcelona. Maybe that's what affects him. The thing is, we will never know until he comes out and speaks about it, because again, everything we look at is perception. But the Paul Pogba point is so interesting for me, because he didn't ask for the price tag. He was the world's most expensive player at the time. The one thing we know is that we've seen the ability and we've seen the performances. So in people's head, naturally, it's kind of like, we've seen what you can do, and now that we're seeing you fall short of it. So our minimum expectation is to give us what you've seen. That one, to a certain extent, is understandable, because people are just saying, show us what you've done in the past.
Here at 3258, we're proud to present you with the best football-specific content. We work with many companies and many ballers to give you, the viewers, the best content possible. You, the viewer, we're always looking to help you improve your skill set. In order for you to improve your skill set and for us to keep making these videos, please click the link down below and buy some equipment. The equipment helps us run this channel, and also you subscribing to the channel helps us producing more of these videos to help you with your skill set and your knowledge of the game. Thank you for supporting 4258.
How that you could say on the flip side, maybe he was playing out of his skin at that point and he can't get back to that performance. I don't think that's the truth because I feel like Pogba's got a lot of talent. He's a wonderful player. But we're getting to that stage now where we might have to start having that conversation because Manchester United, it's been 5 years, and it's like, we still haven't seen that spark or everything that we saw at Juve. So is it because you were playing to a level where you had all of that environment and it's just not working here? You can have that conversation. Another example I'll give is Dan James. So Dan James getting to United had only scored 4 career goals. He was supposed to be moving to Leeds and he gets this amazing move to Manchester United. He has a golden patch, a purple patch where he scores 6 goals, and then after that, it just doesn't look the same. Now everyone's on his back. Like, oh, this guy's not great. He's this, he's not the level.
What did you expect?
It's true. He may not be the level, but what did you expect of someone that, to anyone sort of viewership, this shouldn't have been his level. Like, even to be a top player at the championship, probably it didn't look like it was his level. Don't get me wrong, he came to United and he set a light initially. But that wasn't supposed to be his level. So now he's in the situation he's in. Can you blame this poor kid for what's going on? Not really, no, because he shouldn't have been in that situation in the first place. And like people will say, but we expect to see, minimal dribbling and stuff. But if you go and do the history and everything, was that what he was even doing before is the big question. If
they give him the ball in behind. And
So Wan-Bissaka is another one. People say that he hasn't got the attacking prowess to play at Manchester United. But if you look at him, time when he came through Palace and everything, how he's performing has been his bread and butter. Like, this is him. This is him. And when a footballer's at the age of 22, 23, 24, old habits die hard. You're not going to change a footballer. You can kind of coach him to do things with good coaching, but a footballer's default is going to be a footballer's default. Like, Thiago, for however long, is going to check his shoulder how he does and play his passes. That's his game. Wan-Bissaka is going to commit those challenges. That's his game. So it's hard to change these things.
I went on trial one time. I was leaving West Ham. I went on trial at Crystal Palace. These times he was still in the 23s, and he was a winger. And he was on my team for one game, and the guy just didn't pass. I was just thinking, like, he's got something wrong with him. Like, just don't pass. Like, just don't know when to give the ball. Like, he's a winger, innit? Like, these times. So I saw back then that there's no chance this guy, like, if he doesn't change, he can't make it as a winger. So me watching him now as a right back attacking, I know that is not his game. Do you understand? He's always going to be a right back. And me personally, as a defending right back, he's world class.
Solid,
He's world class. But like expecting him to go forward, like, I don't know what people thought when Man United bought him.
You signed him,
Going to be Marcelo or something,
So man, like sometimes, and that's the hard bit because you see the price tag and you go, for 50 million, you should be able to this and that. Or as a professional footballer, you should be able to do everything. And I understand that to a certain extent, but what you have to remember is, one, not everyone's the same, and two, like, there's different levels to this footballing thing, man. It's not just 1 + 1 = 2. It doesn't work like that. Like, I've seen people at the top level who haven't got the technical ability, but because they're able to apply what they do have, amazing. Great example is someone I always speak to people, Antonio. For Antonio to get to where he got to, he has a level of technical ability. However, he wouldn't be in that conversation of technician or anything. But what he can do is he can apply himself and he can do this simple stuff. One of his goals the other weekend, quick free kick, pass it out, run into the box to score a header. He knows what he can and can't do, and he knows how to apply what he has. I love those footballers that know that, because you know what, this is my capacity, but I can maximize this because I know how to use it. I love those footballers. And those footballers always seem to make the good moves as well. They know that, I can't go play a team which they expect me to kind of, start popping the ball and think it's not my way of playing. I can then what? Loads of people look at Akinfenwa and be like, oh, this guy's a big guy and everything. He knows what he can and can't do. He's played in promotion teams bare because he knows what he can deliver. I know a footballer called Mark Marshall, I believe it is, and he at the moment is what I would call a promotion specialist. Any team that wants to get promoted in within like League One, League Two, they'll go and sign him because they know that he knows how to perform them sort of teams. Like, goes back to that previous point. You have to know what part you play in the boy band.
Yeah.
And listen, like, that's just how football is, man. It's not just because you're 80 mil or Black Pub, because you're 90 mil, you're going to win all the games, you're going to get all the goals and assists. No, because he wasn't doing that before. The price tag doesn't determine his footballing ability.
Yeah, no, 100%. I was saying it in my Instagram live today. I said there's no shame in being a Lukaku, for example. Like, just being a bully and, you know, and obviously he's got more than that, but I mean, like, in the way he's just strong and fast, and there's no shame in that. You know, you do your thing, man.
Whatever works for you, man. That's how football is. Like, whatever actually works for you, find it and stick to it. Jamie Vardy, like, he found what worked for him. Imagine Jamie Vardy trying to be like this all singing and dancing winger. He would have never made it pro, never, because it's like, I know someone that can do that better than you, but Jamie Vardy playing off the last shoulder, making those runs, classy finishes, hounding defenders. Is there many people that can do it better than him? Yeah. No, and it took him from non-league to the Premier League, and he's played exactly the same way. He's adapted, of course, but the DNA of who he is has stayed true, and it stood the test of time. Like, find what works for you and just hold on to it, man.
Yeah, Mikel Antonio, you just spoke about. I played in his first ever game for West Ham. It was a 23s game, and and afterwards, I remember because we went off early into the shower or whatever. He said to me, like, he was kind of, you know, introducing himself to me, and we had like a one-on-one in the change room, and deep talk. He just said how he came up and everything, and he just said, "Listen, I know what I'm good at. This is me. I don't care. It's got me to play for West Ham. This is like a dream move for me. Like, you know, to come from the champ to a Premier League team. Like, now I can really, really change my family's life how I want to. Like, I don't care. You know, this is me. This is what I do, innit? So, props to him, man.
For real.
Yeah, just the last bit we'll get into. Like, what do you think of like the way football's changing? You know, introducing, obviously we touched on the fan channels and whatnot, but like they're trying to show you more into what goes on into our realm of things, like, say for example the Spurs documentary and whatever. How did you find that?
I like it a lot, man. It just gives context to what actually goes on. Like I mentioned before, I've been privy enough to see some things, but I haven't seen everything. So it's great to see stuff like that. I think it's important for fans as well, because it just gives this education that, you know, okay, maybe I don't understand all of it, or that's why that's happening. The other element of that, though, if we're being real, is a lot of the time people will show you what they want to show you. And the truth is, we're never going to see the ins and outs. Like, a key moment I always think about in football is the story of the flying boot with David Beckham and Alex Ferguson. Like, we will hear accounts of that story, but we'll never know what actually happened. We'll never know what it was like in there.
Yeah.
So we will always have our perceptions, but we will never truly know, like, how it actually was in there. We will never know how Pizzagate happened with Arsenal and United, and how Fabregas. He can tell us that, I threw the pizza, but we'll never knew how it led up to that. And there's some beauty in that, because it just kind of gives you this sort of mystery, mythical thing about football, which is great. But it's good to see the insides. Like the Tottenham documentary, what that jumped home was Jose Mourinho's character, which a lot of people before the documentary were saying that he's this, he's that. But watching that, it would make a lot of people realize, you know what, I understand why he's like that now, because he's trying to breed a mentality in his football team. So it is great to see stuff like that. It brings you closer to the footballers. At the same time, for footballers, it may just leave them a bit more even exposed, even a bit more. Because it's like, okay, you get to see me 90 minutes on the pitch. Now you're seeing how I train and everything. The media, the tabloids try and get your piece of my private life. Like, if you start piecing all these things together, you've probably got more things to critique me, because that's what people seem to do.
Yeah.
And I don't think all footballers are happy that every part of their being is being exposed. Like I said, a lot of footballers didn't ask for this. They wanted to play football. They were good at it. They grew with it, but they didn't ask for the lifestyle. Some people wanted this lifestyle. Some people like, listen, I wanted the glitz and glamour, but you have to remember a lot of footballers don't. One of the guys that always comes to mind is Asil Koto, left back at Spurs.
Yeah, Spurs. Yeah.
He said he hated football. He said he hated football. He was just good at it.
Yeah.
He was just good at it, and he made a lick of it. He drove his smart car. Apparently, he used to take tube to like training sometimes and everything as well.
With him, I don't. I remember what he's saying. Him saying that, and I'm not gonna, say that he didn't mean it in a certain type of way. But from what I probably imagine, he probably just fell out of love with it, with the politics and everything like that. But in terms of like him actually loving football and everything like that, it's the same as Anelka. Anelka said the same thing. These guys, they do love football. Like in terms of they would go play football with their kids, like they go play football with their mates, type of thing. But
at the professional level,
I can understand that.
Yeah, they probably just follow. And it's, I know for sure anyway, having spoken to people and seen it, it happens more than people think. A lot of people fall out of love with the game. Like, you've got to remember that you've been prepared. You've been groomed is not the right term, but you've been pampered.
Groomed. You could say groomed. You could say groomed.
Yeah. You've been groomed for this since you were 8.
Yeah.
And you've been pushed into this machine, this brutal machine where you have friends that you're competing with, and those friends won't make it with you, and you've made it through now. And like, sometimes you're in changing rooms, and the truth is, like, some of these guys, you may not like these guys in the changing room, but you have to go out there and try and get 3 points, and you're in this system until you make it professional, and you're in it professionally for 10 years. 5 years in, you might be thinking, I'm tired of this. And it's not like footballers can go and take like I'm taking a career break, or I'm walking away from it. It's unheard of. Like, it's apart from when Pep went on a sabbatical, I don't know many people within football saying, I'm taking a break from this.
He did it because he's Pep.
Literally. He can do it because he's Pep. But how many footballers can say, I'm taking some time away from the game. I just need to switch a little bit. You look crazy. You look crazy. So I understand why a lot of footballers feel the way they do about football, about the way football's going and everything. But I do think there is a space that we can make that a lot better with the stuff that you're doing, with the stuff I'm trying to do, with these new spaces where you can discuss things. Like, I think it is that, I think it can get better. Like, I was fortunate enough to, I know it's not football, but speak to Isaac Chamberlain. In boxing, you can be in a situation where you can disappear for 2 years. You can come back and people may not know you, build yourself again, but you can do that. In football, if you're in the limelight, you are there from the second your career starts until you call time in your career. Even if you're not a big player, the people that follow your team will follow you and be like, okay, what's this person doing? Like, you were supposed to be the next big thing. Why didn't it happen? But you're not even performing how you perform when you're 18 now. You're getting worse. And that's a lot to deal with, man. That's why if someone makes it professional, you have to give them their props, because it's not, you don't just make it professional by accident. Anyone that made it professional worked to a level and got there because they deserved it. I don't think there's anyone that's professional that didn't deserve it. I think it's impossible, especially in football.
Yeah. It's just it's a long journey, innit? And something that, you need the right people around you. You need the right learning experiences and lessons and whatnot to overcome some things that you face in it. With me, I feel like I've got inner happiness, So for me, doesn't matter what happens, I'm content. Content might be a bad word, but I mean content in the way that, like, as long as I give my everything, then it is what it is. I just have to accept it. This, I can have some control in what I'm doing, in terms of the YouTube side and whatnot. Like, I can control that, but some things with football, politics and whatnot, you can't control that. So as long as I give my best to that, that's what I can do, right?
For more content like this, like, share and subscribe.